Greetings, YouTube. One of the things that the GOP loves to do is disenfranchise voters because they know they can't win a legitimate election. They can't. Their policies are horrible. They hate America. They are a terrorist organization whose purpose is to benefit the wealthy and to screw everyone else. Okay? They can't win on political topics, on values or anything like that. So one of the best methods they can do is use bigotry and disenfranchisement. And one of the things they've been doing recently has been college students. They don't want college students voting. And the reason they don't want college students voting is that college students tend to vote more progressive than they do conservative. And one of the things they want to make sure is that a lot of places that are college towns will concentrate progressive voters, and they don't like that. They don't like that at all. So they want to make sure that it's very hard for college students to vote in those places because that can become the seed of a progressive movement if you get a lot of progressive voters in one place. So they want to make sure that college students have to vote in their home districts because they could be coming from much more conservative places where a progressive vote will be swallowed up by all the conservative votes. And that's tough to do. So they've come up with rules about that. And one of the reasons this is so important to me is they're currently trying to do this here in my state of New Hampshire. So there's been a big fight over what is all about domicile and residency. Essentially, if you are a college student in New Hampshire, is New Hampshire your state of residency, or should you be considered a resident of your home state in the event that, New Hampshire isn't your home state? And I guess apparently we have lots and lots of out-of-state students, and they want to make sure that those students are not voting here in New Hampshire. Now, on the national level, I can almost see their argument. If you're running for president, where you vote is less important. It's still important. Less important than on state level votes. But if a student has decided, I want to go to school in New Hampshire for anywhere between 4 to 8 years, you could be going to school for that long legitimately in the state of New Hampshire, wouldn't it make sense for them to want to vote on state level offices, even city level offices, in the place they're going to live for that 4 to 8 year time period? So some of the obstacles that are thrown up is they say, well, you have to register your car here, or some people even suggested you have to have a driver's license here. Again, things that a college student is less likely to do if this is not where they're going to live permanently. They're just here during their college years. But if you require someone to spend money to have the right to vote, that's a poll tax, and that's unconstitutional. So there is the rub. The conservatives, no, you can't vote here unless you've proved you're going to stay here forever and ever and ever. And the progressives are like, well, if you're throwing up monetary barriers to voting, that's unconstitutional and you can't do that. So this is the fight that we've been having in New Hampshire for years now. I can't remember the name of the law. It was HB whatever. I want to say 243, but I could be wrong. But the point is that there's the bill that's currently being discussed and trying to figure out how do you interpret the concept of requiring someone to register their vehicle in the state of New Hampshire if that is what the goalpost or the roadblock that the GOP has placed in the path of voters. And there's also, how do you enforce that? Do you carry your vehicle registration with you everywhere you go? No, I don't. I walk to my polling places. It's 3 blocks from my house. I don't have to drive to my polling place. And the Office of Registration is not a law enforcement agency. So are you now pushing on to them the responsibility for making sure each person who votes is registered? That's a lot of effort, and it's money. So these laws and these attempts, both specifically in my state and across the nation, are getting more and more burdensome on other people, which of course is what the GOP wants. The more complicated you make a process, the more likely you are to disenfranchise more voters. Make it complex, make it confusing, make it expensive, and you will drive down voting numbers. You will disenfranchise voters from the voting process. You will be taking away people's voting rights because the GOP, again, can't win in a legitimate election. Remember, 2016, they lost the popular election by 3 million votes. If it wasn't for our horrible, electoral college system, we wouldn't have the shit given in the Oval Office. We'd have a different politician who's almost as bad, but it wouldn't be the shit given. At least her racism is more of the conventional Democratic style as opposed to the overtly carrying torches and pitchforks and Nazi flags through the streets of America. So yes, I'd take Clinton over the shit given any day of the week. So what do you think about this process? Do you think that there is a way to decide where a person should vote, and do you think these efforts count as poll taxes? I think the person should be able to vote in the state they are currently occupying that is under the control of the politician who has effects on their lives while they're at college. Because state-level politicians are going to decide things like college funding, which affects the college students. Not to mention local cops, defense, prosecutors, the mayors, everybody where they live can affect their lives. They should have the right to choose people who they like in the place they live, even if it is for only 4 to 8 years. They should still be living under politicians that they want to live under if they can affect that election. So that's my thoughts on the topic. So let's talk about this topic. It bugs the crap out of me that the GOP members, all the Republicans, act like none of the things I've brought up are a problem because it achieves their goal of complexity, confusion, and disenfranchisement. They all act like they just whistle and pass the graveyard, ignoring all the chaos they are causing because it benefits them in the short term and the long term. Because the GOP is a terrorist organization, and we need to do everything in our power to get them out of America.